This is Jason Shell, and I'm here today with Alex Lindsay Roth of the band Second Empire. How are you today, Alex?
I'm great. How are you, Jason?
I am just fine. Thank you for asking. I think the first thing we really need to do for you guys are a fairly new band, only been around a couple of years. I think we really want to get to listen to the audience, other than the fact that they already know that you're the band of the month for Women in Metal, at least the regular listeners do, and of course a lot of your fans. Let's introduce you and Second Empire to the world.
I am the lead singer and keyboardist for the band, and there are four of us. And we play symphonic metal. And a lot of our songs have hooks or something to remember in each song. So each of our songs are unique. And I wouldn't even classify our music, in one genre, because symphonic metal really spans all the genres. And that's one of the great things about it, is that you don't have to stay in one place. You can explore all the different genres and combine them all together. And that's really why I love this genre. But there's four of us, and to get the big symphonic metal sound out of four people is something we've been exploring for the entire about 2 years we've been together. And I think we're starting to figure it out, and just now attacking that problem. And a lot of people agree that we are getting there, figuring this out. And we're all so immersed in this genre. This is our lives. I know this is my life. My passion for this kind of music is so great. I listen to it all the time, and I just love how it combines all the genres that I've loved throughout my entire life.
Well, you touched on something that is actually quite interesting. You say symphonic metal takes a little bit from a lot of other genres. It's really true. I mean, there's a lot of straight ahead, just metal, if you want to call it. Of course, there's a symphonic sound, and there's a lot of death metal elements included with symphonic metal.
Yeah, I mean, some of my training was Italian opera, and that's in a lot of the vocals in symphonic metal. Mm-hmm. If you listen to Nightwish, Tarja's vocals are all classical vocals that soar above the rest of the music. And of course, we've tried to incorporate some of that into our music. But the way we write is just whatever happens, happens. And we don't really have a formula. And I bring a lot of the high soaring vocals over and the guys bring the really hard metal rocky part, the bottom. Just combine that all together it's just amazing to see how it all comes together in the end.
Well, you mentioned Nightwish, and I do see a lot of Nightwish and maybe even Within Temptation in Second Empire's music. I mean, the influence, I guess, is what I'm saying. Would that be fair?
That's totally fair. I mean, those were two of our greatest influences, and I think that all four of us can agree on that Nightwish and Within Temptation. I mean, I would say the vocals of Nightwish, like the soaring, operatic vocals, and, I would say Within Temptation has, at least with some of the new stuff, some of a sort of a poppier feel to it. So, we've definitely incorporated both of those in. And, again, we don't really have a formula, so we don't try to sound like anything. Try it. It just, that's the way it comes out for a lot of our songs. Since I've grown up with musical theater, a lot of those elements are incorporated into the performance part, I would say. And actually, something interesting is when I saw Camelot live, a lot of his moves were really, they looked like he had studied musical theater before, and I really didn't have a chance to ask him if he had studied that. But I think it really all the training comes in, and everything I've really explored throughout my life is all coming together. I'm using it every time I explore this genre.
Your personal training, I mean, you're touching on that there a little bit. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about how you've developed as an artist?
Well, I started out musical theater and dancing. When you're doing musical theater, you kind of have to be a triple threat. You have to dance, sing, act, and I did a lot of acting. Actually, I was in a Shakespeare in the Park production, and they asked me to write the music for it, and that was pretty interesting because I was able to bring my creative influences to that show. But it really, there was something missing. I really wanted to be the center of attention because I am a total attention hawk. I love attention, and I'm really not afraid to say that I do because I know it's true. So I wanted to be center of attention, so I became a solo performer, playing my guitar in bars, wherever I could get a gig, even around Fruit at Giant Eagle next to the Fruit. It's lowly, but the pay was pretty good, so it's all worth it. But
girl's got to make some money, right?
yeah, I mean, whatever works. But actually, when the guys called me up and wanted to start this band, that's what I was doing. I was a solo performer, and they introduced me to this music. They said, "Hey, check this out." This is actually the first song they showed me, even though I'd heard some of the music before, was "What Have You Done" by Within Temptation. And I remember listening to that and thinking to myself, wow, this is really everything I've ever wanted it to be. This is everything that I've been looking for. And that's when I knew I wanted to be a part of it.
On a personal level, have you had any professional training?
Sure. Betsy Lawrence is my singing teacher. She studied with the New York Opera before. What I find the most intriguing about her is that she has classical training. She has a lot of training, actually, but she's not afraid to explore other genres. She's not afraid to, immerse herself in other genres. She's not too snobby to go out of her comfort zone. And actually, she's really into symphonic metal. I introduced her to the genre, and actually, since then, a lot of other students that she's had, have shown her this genre, and it's really coming to be a big thing here now, I think. But she taught me how to sing operatically. She also, we started out with musical theater when I was in a musical theater, and then she said, I think it's really time for us to step it up and learn how to sing opera. Italian opera is what we started out with.
Oh, it really does. I mean, the vocals. I mean, you listen to some of the vocalists, like, Tarja, who you mentioned.
Tarja is 100%.
Yeah,
you can tell she's trained.
She's just like, she's like maybe a step above everybody else in some ways, But every singer you listen to in that genre, no matter who it is, you can really hear that they've had to have some kind of classical training, even if it's just touching on the surface of it. And so, in my opinion, you are going down the right road.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us have had, some form of training, actually a lot of training. We're all really serious about this, and we understand that to really go far, you do have to have training, unless you're, some kind of genius, But, Brett, he's the guitar player, has started taking vocal lessons.
Good for him. He's
been taking guitar lessons for, as long as he can remember. Anthony grew up in a musical family. He's the bass player. He has a family of professional musicians. And Matt, he's been playing for such a long time, and he's the drum tech at Guitar Center, so he really knows what he's doing.
Now, Brett and Anthony, they were the ones who more or less started the band. Is that correct?
Yeah. Brett and Anthony came up with the idea to start this female-fronted symphonic metal band. And actually, the way this all started was Brett and Anthony saw me at a performance doing a Evanescence song, Bring Me to Life. And it was actually a year before they thought about starting this band. And then when they thought about it, they remembered me, and they called me up and contacted me. And, of course, I looked at it and I said, okay. They came in, they set up. I could tell they really were, serious about this. And instead of being the judge, judging them, I felt that I was being judged, and we were judging each other. So we were really, serious about what we were doing. And that's when I knew that this was going to be different from anything I'd ever done before. I knew this was going to be a journey that, wouldn't be like anything I'd ever done before.
You actually bought the name Second Empire to the band. Is that what I'm understanding?
I was in Paris, and there's so much beautiful architecture there.
Oh, yes.
And I was looking at the Paris Opera House, and it reminded me of our music, and I said, Second Empire, this really describes our music, this name. It comes from Napoleon III, his renovation of Paris, the city of Paris, and pretty much the revolution that he brought about to the place, but not a revolution, the literal revolution, the cultural revolution that he brought around, the new architecture, and it really is the city that we see today.
You guys started out, of course, now you're doing all original material, and I always like to get very interested in how bands start out. And you actually, Second Empire started out covering a lot of the bands that we're talking about. Of course, we're talking about, Within Temptation, Nightwish, in this moment.
Can I talk to you guys about something I do in my room every other Friday night? I sort of get together with these men, and we mix it up. And guess what? You can join us. It's all on InsaneRealmRadio.com's The Metal Zoo. I'm Alex Lindsay Roth, and I co-host with Jason Shell, Rico Stark, Joan Palmer, and Dr. Stephen Daniels on InsaneRealmRadio.com's The Metal Zoo.
At what point did you start graduating from covering Within Temptation and with songs like Faster and Jillian and Nightwish with Sleeping Sun, and move on to the point of, okay, we're going to start bringing our own music out? And how did that come about?
Well, of course, as a new band, you can't just start with your original music. You have to explore where you want to go, and that's what we started out doing. We started out as a cover band. Then one day, Brett came to us with an idea for a song. It was The Valley Beneath, which I think was our first recorded song.
Okay.
And we all agreed that it was what we wanted us to start out to be. The way we write is one person brings a song, brings the idea for a song, and everyone else chimes in and adds their instrument and also their input to it. And we all started working on this song. It was a collaboration, and that was, we were still playing covers after we wrote The Valley Beneath, but that's when we really started to write our own music, and now it just comes second nature to us. We're always bringing new ideas in. We're always writing new songs, and every single time, it's amazing how all of us come together to create really what's a masterpiece.
What would be an example of a song that, as you put it, brought to Second Empire? I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything like that. Just more of a curiosity thing.
One that I brought?
Yeah.
Hold Me was one that I brought. I wrote the piano part to it. It starts off with the piano.
Mm-hmm.
It started out, I wasn't really sure how I wanted it to sound, but I knew that when I showed them my idea, they would know what to do with it, because that's part of their talent. They just know how to turn an idea into a full-fledged song.